This is Line Talkers Podcast, Episode 3, Public Safety Power Shutoff, Heroes and Villains.
You know, when the guys are working really long hours, it's always a special treat when you happen to see them out working or you know where they are and you can bring the kids over and just say a quick hi so that the kids are happy and dad's happy. And it's just kind of like a reset button for everybody when you've had a really long day. My friend sent me this message and I'm just going to read it verbatim what she wrote because it just really hit home to me when I read it, and it just broke my heart that the soberness of the situation that we're in right now because of the anger and frustration that a lot of people are feeling because of the PSPS. She says, "We were out of power yesterday on a major road in town. Someone hit a pad mount transformer right next to our house. It was a blessing and a curse because my kids were so happy to see Daddy at work with his crew. But a curse as well, because I swear they sent every guy in the yard to be on lookout for the crew that was working the outage. This is what it has come to. And my hubby said, get the kids out of here quick in case someone stupid comes along and starts shooting. It's depressing what our guys and gals have to go through now." And when she said that, it just really struck a chord to me because I can't even count how many times my daughter and I, when she was much younger, would just go and find Dad wherever he was working just to say hi, because it's like their highlight of their day. And for both of them, for them, the child, and for the wife. And it just helps kind of give you a little refresher and keep you focused on being safe and what's important and getting the job done. And when I read that, it just broke my heart because no one should have to worry about telling their kids or telling the mom to get their kids out of there because of some possibility of an angry customer coming by. I mean, even if it wasn't as violent as a shooting, which God forbid, I hope that never ever happens, just knowing that an angry customer would come by and yell profanities while your kids are there, and they would have to be exposed to that. And it just really hit home and made me so sad that we are living in a time like this where people just have no decency to be respectful and kind.
Welcome to Line Talkers Podcast. My name's Kenny Adams. I'm the host. Today's episode about public safety power shutoff, I entitled Heroes and Villains. We could argue all day long about who the villains are, but today we're going to talk about the heroes. Here in Florida, we have hurricanes and storms, and people tune in from all over the country for with the Weather Channel for a few days to see what's going on. I can tell you here in Florida, I was up in the Carolinas this week, up in Charlotte, all over the news, PSPS. What in the world what is this? What's going on out there?
Well, for the record, my lights are not out. I have electricity right now. And the definition for a PSPS is for public safety. It may be necessary for us to turn off electricity when gusty winds and dry conditions combined with a heightened fire risk are forecasted. This is called a public safety power shutoff, or PSPS. Unfortunately, California is really at risk for wildfires. These conditions just came together the last couple of days for the perfect storm. A lot of California was out of power, and I'm not just talking about Northern California. It also includes Central and Southern California as well.
This is unprecedented as I think about what has happened here. It goes against everything that we were ever taught about restoring electricity. That, working in the crew, working in supervision, working in management, it goes against everything. What are you hearing out there? What are the employees going through as far as the companies make a decision to shut people's power off because of safety concerns? What is it like for them? Have you heard or seen any comments or anything from employees? How are they dealing with this?
Well, the company utilizes as many boots on the ground as they can for this, because after the power is shut down and it's deemed safe for restoration to begin, then every single inch of those power lines that have been shut down need to be visually inspected. And that means that If the guys can't drive along the lines and look at them, then that means they have to pack along the lines or walk along the lines to make sure that they're visually inspected, or through the helicopters. That saves a lot of time, but there's just thousands and thousands of miles of line when you're shutting down a large amount of people. And so there's just no real quick way to do it because we're all only human, and the capacity for 5,000 or 6,000 people to get this task done is just huge. I mean, you just can't even comprehend the amount of time and people and resources that it takes. And unfortunately, only the people that really do this job or understand this industry seem to grasp that. And there's been a lot of backlash from angry customers, people who are upset because they don't have power for 2 days, that they just, for some reason, don't understand that this is for their safety. There's some pictures that I happened to post recently showing that limbs blow into lines regardless if they're cleared. People don't maintain their property the way that they should be to make it safe. When you have high winds and things that you can't control, we can't control Mother Nature, accidents happen. And so this has all just been set up to try to prevent a horrible fire from happening. And I just wish that the general public would have a better conception of how and why this is all happening.
Let me back up just a little bit. So for my own benefit, just to make sure I understand, I think I know. I don't think I've ever shut, other than like if a building's on fire, you shut power, or if there's a car pole or something, you shut power. It's very isolated, very few customers. Utility in California had almost 1 million customers out of power. It was a perfect storm, weather moving in, high winds. They made a decision to cut the power off, and then I assume that from the time the power was turned off until the all clear was given, all the boots on the ground just had to sit and wait.
Yeah, and so these guys are being shipped out from their home yards because obviously it's not widespread all the way across the territory. It's concentrated in certain areas that have the worst weather with the winds. Because they knew it was going to be such a big task, they're shipping guys from yard to yard so that they can gather everyone so that it can be taken care of as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
So to your point of, first of all, these guys are out of town, and then the public is not aware. People don't, and I guess I'm guilty of this as well. With certain industries, you don't ever appreciate a bridge that you drive over every day until they're working on it and it's closed and you have to go another way. I assume that most people are the same with their electricity. You take it for granted every time you flip the switch, every time you turn the microwave on, or you want hot water or air conditioning or heat, you take it for granted. And then when it's not there, then you start asking questions and getting frustrated. Electricity is one of those things that you can do without a lot of things in life, but electricity is one of those things where I don't know what it is, but after just a little bit of time, if you don't have, the basics, which now the basics, of course, I think people would rate them as if you don't have your Wi-Fi or internet, that's probably the first one, but you can't do that without electricity. People start to get angry, like irate. You're involved with the business there. What are you hearing or seeing with irate customers? How quick did it escalate, and how far did it escalate?
Well, people were acting like it was the apocalypse. I mean, I know that it's one thing to be prepared, but the level of panic that I saw through social media was just beyond. I mean, it's just people back east lose power all the time, and it's not the end of the world, and over here, it just turned into a joke practically.
So you being immersed in the business the way you are and the location that you're in, what have you, in ways of irate customers, what have you seen or heard? We saw on the news here that one of the PG&E trucks actually were shot at.
Yes, and unfortunately that is true. And that has happened in the past on occasion, but it seemed to be connected because of the frustration felt by the general public and whoever that person was, that they fired shots at the PG&E vehicle. Thank God it missed him and he's not harmed at all. But why would you even do that in the first place? I mean, if you want your power restored, then why are you going to try to slow the process by harassing or abusing the guys that are trying to get it taken care of. A lot of the wives themselves, their husbands are gone working, trying to get this taken care of. And so they're home alone with their kids and they're in the dark too. I mean, it's not like it doesn't affect us. It affects all of us. They have just as much of a difficulty not being able to turn on the microwave or, put the movie on for the kids so they all settle down for bed. It's frustrating for everybody, but it's not like it happened for 3 weeks. I mean, we're talking like 3 days for the most part. And the frustration that's been taken out on our guys has just been embarrassing. I honestly have to say, I mean, it's all these people out here that are treating them like they've done something wrong and not seeing the big picture should just be ashamed of themselves. Honestly, I just can't comprehend why anyone with a logical thinking brain would take out their frustrations on the people who are trying to fix it for them.
I completely agree, but it makes no sense. The guys are here. Hey, the guys are here in the neighborhood to help restore power. Let's shoot at them.
Yeah. I mean, and even there was another specific incident where some guy was making threats that he was going to shoot the next truck that left the yard or that went to go work that he would see. That's a for real legitimate threat. I mean, we have security guards posted at some of the yards, and extra people who could be doing their job are just standing around watching just to make sure that there's no suspicious activity while our guys are trying to work. And so, when that stuff happens for safety reasons, the guys have to stand down and make sure that it's all clear so that, God forbid, none of them get injured by some crazy person who just doesn't have a grip on reality, I guess. I don't know. It's just, It blows my mind. I don't understand it at all.
It is sad that it's come to this over something that the company feels, regardless of the reason, regardless of what happened in the past, the company feels at this moment, in this situation, this is the best thing that we can do to save property and life.
Mm-hmm.
This is our decision, and this is what we're going to do to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of the frustration, you and I talked earlier, some of the frustration is we turn power off before the storm comes, and our guys sit there, and I say our guys, the utility guys, they sit there for 2 to 3 days till all clear is given. And then once the all clear is given, it's a process, as you said, to bring all the lines back up. So First of all, you have to look at every single structure, every pole, every transmission tower, every mile of line, either by foot, by automobile, truck, or by helicopter, right?
Yep.
And then once that's done, as far as the transmission system has to be brought back up, you have to be able to balance your system. You have to be able to bring it up in pieces, and, your voltage has to be right. You can't just flip a switch and everybody's lights come on, at one time.
Mm-hmm.
It just puts too much strain on the system. So now where are we? I mean, we're recording this on a Saturday afternoon. So where are we? Are we almost done? Is everybody back up yet, or do you know where we're at?
I'm pretty sure that it's really close to being done, if not done already. And thank goodness. I mean, we're talking, I think this started on Tuesday. I'm not for sure. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but 4 days is not that bad. And the fact that the majority of people who are on social media or who have email were notified that this was going to be happening. So it wasn't a shock and all of a sudden everyone's out of power and didn't know. And I know that over the summer, there was a lot of notification that, hey, this is probably going to be happening. We just don't know when. So be prepared. Buy a little extra water, get a little bit of extra canned food, know how to open your garage door if you don't have power, pull that string and push it up. And so it's just seeing a lot of the negative comments and literally comments comparing our guys to Nazi forces is just so disheartening.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, because
unbelievable. It sounds like all of what you just said. Forgive me for interrupting, but what you just said, it sounds like preparing for one of our hurricanes here in Florida.
Yeah,
the bottled water. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
unlike your guys, though, people are happy to see us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that has just not been the story, unfortunately, with this situation. And we do have a lot of encouragement. And there are certain little towns who are doing great things and being nice to our guys. And, you know, some little restaurants and cafes that don't have power, they're still using all their food that they had and making sandwiches to take to the guys. And so there is a lot of support. And luckily, the guys that are out there working hard have really great families behind them, giving them the support that